All right, so all of these, topics came through. This basically, in one morning, I went and got coffee and I started getting all this stuff downloaded, like, and I think it was actually even earlier that morning before I left the house that, like, this series, you're gonna do this series. And I was like, cool. And I had this whole idea of like what it was gonna be about. I was like, oh, it's gonna be about the ability within disability. And like in my head, I had in my head what it was gonna be about. And then I went to the coffee shop. Then I'm sitting in my car after or whatever, and I just got this like I'm have to tune in and see what because I knew I was gonna channel Hadden. I'm like, well, ask Hadden what it's about. And I think I turned my phone on and recorded it. That's what it was. It was like, well, what's the title? What's it about? And all of this literally, the word for word, the titles of each session came through and the whole title. And I was like, oh, okay, that's not what I thought at all. So that's kind of how it came through. And then I just started writing for each one, like stuff that was coming to me about each thing. And I was like, sweet, this is all the stuff. And some of it's very similar, things that I've thought of covering on the podcast coming up. Anyway, it's all just hanging there in our field, and that I got it all at once, and I was like, okay, and like out of nowhere, I planned this thing just because I felt called to do it, like very strongly. And so that's why the story about I thought no one signed up is was so funny to me because I was like, God, I got like such a strong thing that came through. Like, what the heck? So that's that. That's why all of this is channeled. Hi, Rosie. And yeah, that's kind of where it came from. Um, so let me, sorry, I totally lost my notes. Get back here. Nope, wrong one. Hold on. Too many things open. Okay. So today we're talking about New Earth. Probably heard the term. I heard it for a while before I sort of became a little more conscious and went down this path starting probably 3.5 years ago. Um, and I'm gonna go through sort of my understanding of it. Generally, the entire purpose of why I think this is the overall theme being embodying the new earth frequency is that that's what these kids are leading us into. Um, that living in that frequency because they do. They live most successfully in that frequency. And I find with Hadden, my experience with her is the more present I am, she's able to show up more. Um, And this idea of embodiment is simply just living truest to your own energy and allowing energy to be part of your world, part of identifying as it, letting it come in, feeling it, sensing other people as energy. Um, Essentially, and I'm gonna do a whole podcast episode on this as soon as I think my brain is wrapped around it pretty well, but coming out my mouth is another story. But as we embody, they embody more, meaning um, it's easier for them to bring their energy into their body instead of just kind of tuning into it and seeming a little out of it is kind of my experience with Haddon. When I'm really in the best vibe and fully present, she's like, "Oh, yes, you're here. Okay, let's hang out. Let's really be here together." And I have a completely different experience of her than I used to have, really. And so the purpose here is that that's really where they're leading us and where nonverbal communication in general, I think that's the point of it, is to just get us all to really live um, in these frequencies. And I've I identify those as New Earth. What what makes it new? I kind of think of that when I'm like, what do you mean new Earth? Like, we make it new. You make it new because you're actually creating your reality at all times with your consciousness. And in that, you are also you are your entire reality in a sense, and you are also the Earth. We're not really separate. And we'll go through that a little bit today. And there may be some overlap in all of these sessions in terms of what we cover, and that I think that's, likely to happen, but we'll also have the channels. So I'll go through a bit about my idea of New Earth, and then I'm going to go ahead and channel Hadden. And just ask any questions at any point, and I'll definitely stop between my blabbing on and Hadden's channel to take questions. So, you are what's making it new, our consciousness. And the reason that it's new is that new frequencies are available because we've collectively moved through all these old stories and played them out and asked for more. That's kind of how I experience it, is all of it's important. We go through life in certain levels of consciousness as we progress along. And at some point, I definitely asked for more. That would have probably been when I really started focusing more on this work, and that about 3.5 years ago, like I said. Just knowing that I just knew there was more to all of this and to what Hadden was here for and what I was here for, and that I knew that it could feel better, and it did in moments. And she, just by being her, led me through that process. And if you don't know Hadden, she's my daughter, and she's now 18. So even though, yeah, I don't see her as an adult. I guess I do sometimes. Always my baby, but yeah, she's an adult and an amazing human being, and just she is nonverbal, and just by being, and she's also physically disabled. So I got a child that came here with what I would at first perceive as like no abilities. And then over time, just by being her, she guided me into this perception, into this level of awareness, where I believe there is a part of us existing at all times. And so that's kind of also the idea here, is that there are dimensions of consciousness, they're all available. And it's about choosing. So because we are actually multidimensional, different vibrations of us exist at different levels all the time. And you really do have a choice of which one to exist in. And in my experience, it is about that choice, until you sort of really let go of everything that you aren't, that's not really the truth of you, that's not your pure energetic presence and truth and soul in your body. And then at that point, your vibration actually chooses for you, which is what's happening anyway. I tend to see the process of like progressing through dimensions of consciousness as becoming more energetic, identifying, like I said, more and more with your energetic presence. You might call that your soul, higher self, and the energetic presence of others. So, and let's go through sort of just the basic dimensions of consciousness, and how they can sort of hopefully make sense a little more after this. The third dimension is just our physical reality. It's everything in density, all the physical form around us, everything we can see, touch, smell, taste, all of our five senses that we're interacting with, the world we're interacting with in the physical every day. Um, and in that, we sense ourselves or perceive ourselves as being separate. So there's separation. Um, as you kind of rise in consciousness, right? You start asking like, well, what else? The fourth dimension is essentially, to me, I think it's moving through the physical world with intention. So you're intentionally moving through it. I see this as where helping and changing and fixing. So helping yourself, changing yourself, others. It could be either or. Really looking at your experience and trying to make it better, right? Doing things that make it better. Making choices about your life and your circumstances and changing them. Like my example, the best one in my life in a number of years is moving. Crystal knows all about this. From Colorado to California. And that was a big move for us. And it only happened when Hadden and I were both ready. I don't believe in younger years. You know, she was 13 when we moved. I don't think she would have actually been able to handle it until she did. And I knew it was time. So that's an example of fourth dimensional. I knew that felt right for us. It put us near the rest of our family. It made life seem to make more sense. And I knew we'd have more help and things like that. So that was a choice I made in that dimension of consciousness. And it did improve our lives. But I also got here and had moments that I realized, well, I'm still the same person. I still got all my same perceptions about life. I hadn't actually solved the deeper things, the deeper stuff that I needed to move through, and that's kind of where that started. So I see this whole process as happening perfectly, and we'll go through that in another session. I think it was called Perfection of the New Earth Timeline. Like everything has its perfect moment. You're never in the wrong dimension of consciousness. There's no right or wrong. This is just sort of pointing them out so that you can be aware of them. And for me, being aware of them means there are times when I'm not as connected to Hadden. And knowing oh yeah, I'm not there right now, and that's okay. And over time, those are less and less. And just knowing that it's all perfect. I don't need to be in complete and total bliss and at all times and right there with her higher self in our bodies all the time. It's okay. Life, part of this process is that helps you ascend into higher vibrations is letting go of the judgment of yourself and of anyone else. Just knowing that we all have our chosen paths, and when we're ready, we move on to the next level. So in a recent channel from her, she was like, it's like a video game, and I show up. I can't go to any level that you're not. Like I have to, we came to play the game together. So, yeah. So the next available dimension of consciousness at all times is the fifth dimension. And I see this as being New Earth. I think it's it feels to me as like our highest available dimension in the physical, the one where we really came to live. Because when we create from the highest consciousness that is available to us, which is our soul, we're creating new earth. We're creating, so it's like that connection, right? Like the bridge of love. You're connecting and you're bringing heaven to earth. And so it's no longer, um, there's not the struggle, the separation. You exist purely, perfectly in the now moment, in oneness with all that you are, your soul, oneness with others, and oneness with all that is. Essentially, I experience that as nature. Um, my So in the fifth dimension, in New Earth, heaven on earth, whatever you want to call it, um, you're done moving through things. You're done changing things. You're done improving. There is nothing to move through. There's nothing to change. It is the highest in this dimension, the highest vibrational version of everything just naturally shows up, like Hadden said in her channel recently, or her message to me recently. I'm just going to show up in the level of the video game that you're in. I just show up there. Um, Everything shows up and everyone in their natural state, including you. And so you feel, even in not so perfect moments like of reality, depending on like what's happening in your physical world, you can still feel into the perfection, into your soul, into the moment where it's all perfect. And perfect doesn't mean you love what's happening. Perfect just means you recognize that it's going to be okay. It's happening for a reason. It's there to sort of guide you, whatever it might be. Um, there's just this perfection to everything. And when I experienced this with Hadden, it started changing so much, as you can imagine. To start seeing her through those eyes. And um, I do have experiences of oneness with her, and I actually think she was pulling me into those even before I learned to channel her and I learned to connect to her, actually communicating to her non-verbally. Her just being and our love and that connection, when we were in that, it felt to me like oneness. I didn't know what that was at the time, and I didn't know it was possible. But looking back, that is that purest, full presence with someone, um, in love, in the moment. It's a really good vibration. And so that was with Haddon for sure. That's sort of how I experience oneness. I do, in her physical presence, feel that. And when I'm fully present with her and kind of nothing else we don't need to be anywhere, we're sitting next to each other. Um, when I become the most present with her, I do feel that because she is so present naturally. And it's easy for her. She's just waiting for me. And that has come through in a lot of messages earlier on too. Um, that I just knew, she's always waiting for me in the moment and in love. And that's what the new earth is. And that's where nonverbal communication happens naturally. And you're just naturally telepathic. And I feel that when I'm in channel. It's like, the me now is like, I don't know, what's she gonna say? What are we gonna talk about? What's gonna come through? And I know I'm in channel when I'm like, oh yeah, this is so obvious. Like, I know what she wants to say and I'm saying it. So, um, other my other experiences of, what does New Earth feel like, and how do you know you're there? Um, I Most of my experiences outside of Hatton have been, in nature, and um, that connection actually has been very important too, because I think we're not just here to experience, obviously, like our human connections. I think in the purest sense, in our highest intention, in our soul level intention of being on earth, it's to be on earth and experience the beauty and the perfection and all that is out there. Like I have trails by my house, and sometimes I think the trees around here are like half the reason I moved here because I can go sit on them, or there's one that's like it kind of grows over the path, and it's like the perfect bench, and it's like my favorite tree, and I'll get messages from the trees. And I also feel so everything has consciousness, right? And connecting with nature, to me, it's so easy because you literally just have to be there with it and come into the moment and be in stillness and listen. And even if you don't listen, I can feel energetically the grounding that's occurring, the connection. Take your shoes off sometime and walk on the beach. Like that is um, a perfect experience of oneness. Having you're being there as a physical body and physical person, but if you allow your energy to be there too, it's going to naturally move through the earth and connect. And so a lot of my experiences of oneness are with nature. I can look at flowers sometimes and feel like I'm the flower. I mean, it just starts happening like that. I promise. Just going on walks, and to me it's like seeing, when you see, like, my experience is I'll see something beautiful, and it feels like a reflection of me. It feels like I can actually be that thing, or that I am. Um, or sometimes I can kind of feel like I'm there, like literally in the clouds. I'll like look at clouds and I'll just be like, I'll almost feel like I am the cloud. It's quite a thing. So those those experiences I think are part of what makes this so fun, and what we really came here to experience. And they just naturally start happening as you open to them. That's all it is really just feeling life instead of thinking about it, and feeling your connection to someone instead of analyzing it. Um, so why the other question that came to me is like, why is this important? Why does it matter that they're here, nonverbal kids, guiding us into this place? I think it's important because it's why we're here. It's that simple. um, to move through the different dimensions of consciousness as we're ready. I think that's what we came here for, the whole thing. One of the very first messages I got from Hadden was like, we wanted to feel human. We wanted to go through all of those, as we saw in the moment, difficult experiences. Um, we wanted all of it. And to hear that, I was like, really? Because like back then, I didn't feel like I wanted it. But your soul wanted the experience. And I think as you move through into higher dimensions of consciousness and start living, it gives you a perspective on like earlier times when you were in lower dimensions of consciousness, that's like so much easier to see yourself and see things that have occurred in your life that you thought at the time were so difficult, and you can see the perfection and what it led you to. It literally just led you through to the version of you that lives now, right? And that's hopefully happier and more connected and talking to your nonverbal loved ones. Um, that is my experience, and it changed um, everything. The other thing that came to me of why this is important is because And I think about this has come in a lot, just downloaded to me, that how we see each other is actually really important. How we see um, kids like Hadden, people with disabilities, really anyone. It doesn't, she's just my guide. She's my experience. Um, but how you see another is actually your power. Um, Again, if you see them as perfect, if you perceive like them as the perfect presence that they are, and I get like with Hadden, I do get like her personality and all of her human traits, but they become one with like her energetic expression. And that I think is just her soul coming through her. And it's so unfiltered there. And there's another session about authenticity. I think it's the last one, which is, I think, one of the highest lessons of all of this. And she expresses authentically, naturally. Um, anyway, how we see each other becomes truer to our actual, like closer to the actual truth, as we see each other from this fifth dimension, from the higher available frequencies, um, from the vibration of love, and really from the truth of ourselves. So once we kind of connect to that, how we see the world, it just is. um, it's a byproduct, as how kind of I experience it. Uh, it's the saying of like, yeah, um, changing on the inside changes the outside, right? So as within, so without. Um, it's really powerful, and I think that's why it's important. All those couple of reasons, and it's literally why I do what I do, um, not only for myself and my life with Haddon, but it as my purpose for being here. And I think we're all actually here living a version of that. I choose to make podcasts. I choose to invite, you guys on and connect to Haddon with you. And that's an experience that I feel called to. Doesn't matter what yours is, what calls you. Can be anything. And that's another session that came through was, once you make that connection to yourself and the energy of your soul and your truth, and that opens, what do you do with the flow of that energy? And how do you move in guidance to it, with its guidance? And yeah, so that's coming. And I think, yeah, one of the later sessions of this series. So those are that's my take on all of that and all of the things that sort of jumped in when all this downloaded. So if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'll start channeling Hadden in a minute.
So, like you were saying about the fourth dimension, always you're just making choices to like get to where you need to be. Um, so like I kind of feel like I'm there now, like I'm making these big life-changing choices to because I know what I know I need to be doing what I'm destined to do. Um,
Yeah.
so like do you for the fifth dimension to be able to channel that, like do you have to be like does the fourth dimension kind of have to be like completed per se? Like do you have to be like you know what I mean? Like do I have to get to
Yeah.
like that spot in my life where I feel like I don't have to like, make these choices to get to that final
Yeah, the
destination.
choice just comes from a different place, is the
Okay.
difference. So yeah, in a sense, you become kind of done with it. Not that you don't find yourself there sometimes, like, oh God, how do I change this? It's more about okay, in those moments, going inside and sort of just claiming the reality that you know to be true for yourself and feeling that instead of trying to create it physically and then feel it. So I would call the fifth dimension more of a feeling state of being. I think that's where Haddon and kids like her are leading us to really tune into how life feels instead of what we think about it. Because they don't, and that's one of their gifts, is they're not in their brain. Or that their brain is fully connected to their energy, and how they feel is how they move through the world. And so that's what it is. You really do kind of become done with it in the sense that you don't depend on yourself to make those changes. Like when I moved, it felt like the hardest thing I'd ever done because it was, because I did it all. But what happens when you start choosing from a higher part of yourself? Your experience is just, it comes to you easier. The opportunities come because you let them. It's like a very allowing state. I talked about that in the first podcast. Like, Haddon just naturally allows, and everybody takes care of her, and everything's fine. It's just knowing that you've chosen certain things, but choosing them with your energy, choosing them from within, like a really knowing place in yourself. And you've already done that. That's why you acted on it. And the action is fine. It's part of it too. It's not like you're not going to do anything in the fifth dimension. You just wait for things to totally come to you. I think we actually are that powerful, but life wouldn't be as fun. We want to move with the inspiration, with the guidance. There is always that. Kind of see the fourth dimension as kind of an in between. Like it's recognizing that you actually can change your circumstances. But where that kind of goes awry is when you have a child that's completely disabled and you try to fix them. And what happened, and I think that's part of the perfection of this, is I realized at some point, like, I'm spinning my wheels here. I'm just making myself crazy. Hadden looks fine most of the freaking time, even no matter what her physical state is. And like, you start realizing that you're kind of like, you could do the changing and the fixing and the helping all day long. And that just doesn't feel as good. Like, there's some of that that's fine, but where we're being called to is a place where we're acting purely out from that truest, almost more from like a more of a knowing place, and an allowing place and a feeling place. And yeah, so in a sense, you're kind of done with the fourth dimension when you're done with it, and you will find yourself living more from your soul, from your truth, and not taking all like part of what I did, part of the process of moving for me. It's funny, this is such a great analogy. I moved because I knew I needed more help, right? More family, more support. But getting that was a different story. So I got here and it's like I had everything as it was like I moved and I had my world was pretty much the same and it didn't feel much different. And I was like, oh shit. How I got more help was feeling what it would feel like to have more help. I started focusing on any moment that felt easy in my day or an ease. Like if I did have a nurse for like one day, because I had nurses very off and on in the beginning. If I did have a nurse and I had help and everything was good, and I would just go and I would just feel into that ease. I would be like, oh, I'd just drive around and feel how easy my life is, even if it was just for that moment. And then, so it's more identifying how the thing you're trying to change, what the feeling is. Again, you're like living in a place where you just feel life. And that's the reason we want to do anything. We're changing anything is because you want to feel more connected to your soul, right? Or your purpose or your what your path is. The fifth dimension just says you can do that now. And then everything just happens a little easier, a lot easier. And you sort of attract things to you more than you have to do them. It's just, and there's a lot of patience involved there, and that's where divine timing comes in, and that's, but life is easier, and you don't have to make it all happen at a certain time. And that's the other thing. Kids like Hadden don't live in, they don't experience, they're in the moment. The time is not of any importance to them. And that's, again, they're just guiding us like, hey, you want to be here because this is good. Um, yeah, does that answer your question?
Thank you.
That's good. I liked going through that. I've experienced all of these naturally, right? It's just what we're here doing. And it was part of the knowledge that first started coming through from Haddon was like, it's just a journey. And we came and we wanted all experiences in all of these dimensions. But what really sunk in for me at some point was like, oh, it's not a place. It's not nowhere we need to get to. It's a dimension of consciousness, right? And we can choose anytime. And eventually, like I said, your vibration chooses for you. And you kind of just exist there. And I think Haddon and kids like her are there all the time because it's our natural state. And that's why it feels so good. Because the truth is that we are all in heaven on earth. There's a version of us that's there, and we can align with it anytime we want. So that's my experience. Okay. I forgot to say thank you to everyone that signed up that's going to be watching this later. I had my notes in front of everyone's image when I was talking just then. But I felt a lot more people when I clicked back over and it was like three people. So I was like, oh, I actually felt everybody. So my point being, thank you for signing up. Thanks for watching whenever you watch. And your energy is definitely part of this whole thing. So that's how it works. There is no time or space, really. That is part of the healing. That's the healing nature of all of this, I think, is existing where there is no time or space, just being in the moment. I just think it's the most fun place to hang out, and my kid hangs out there naturally, and what a gift. So, right. I'm thinking this will be, yeah, we got half an hour. And if you have to go, that's fine. We will be recording it. So, or we are recording it. Okay, so just however you want to take this in is perfect. You can close your eyes, you can lay down, you can stay seated, whatever works for you. If you're driving, just pay attention to the road. Just take some deep breaths. Just come into this moment. There's nowhere else to be. Yes, I am here, and I'm so happy to be here with all of you. We want you to breathe. Your breath is your connection to the energy that is you, the truth that is you, the light that is you. You can breathe it into your being now. You can breathe your being into the moment. Breathe yourself into the now. As you become the most present version of you, the truest version of you, allowing all of yourself to be here now. So that we all may experience this full presence, which is the new earth. The new earth is a new way of being. It is only new because of your readiness for it. It has always been here. It is created by you as you connect to your truth, as you live from this truth. The truth of you is that you are energy, you are consciousness. It is what you are. The highest vibration of these is light. The highest vibrational truth of you is light. You are multidimensional, existing in multiple dimensions at once. This is where your choice lies. As you choose love, even when you see or experience fear in others, consciously choosing the truth, which is love. Your experience then shows you only love, So the dimensions of consciousness that are available that you can choose from, you can think of them as versions of you. All are perfect. There is no wrong version of you. That is the journey. It is one that we all chose. We are bringing through energy now as an opportunity to align to this higher truth. Align to the love. Align to the light. Align to all that you are beyond a physical body. Can you live as an energetic being? We think so. We know so. You are the energy of God, of Source, expressing in the physical, expressing through your body, through your reality. Through all that is. There is nothing you need to do to achieve this level of expression, this highest energetic version of you, this highest truth of you. Nothing you need to do. There are no qualifications here. This is the truth of you. And as you breathe, your physical body can find its way back to this truth. Breathe its way back into this truth. Allowing all that you are to be here now. In pure love, expressing as the love that you are, which is the reason you came here. It is our purpose to bring this love to earth, to ground it into our bodies and into the earth, and to experience it all as one. This is the highest truth, and it is why it feels so good feels so true. As you align to these frequencies, anything that is not resonant will easily fall away. It is why there is no effort needed to change things. When you are in heaven on earth, heaven doesn't need changing. And neither do you. So breathe your way into these frequencies of you. Breathe and know this as you. And all that is not true for you will not be there. And from here you will see all others through the eyes of love. Because that is what you are. There is nothing to do here. Receive. Open to all that you are. We hold this frequency for you. We hold this frequency with you because it is you. It is all of us. We are one. This is the highest truth. It is a truth that we carry. We all carry it. And if we are source expressing through a body, and if we allow that expression, that is where we are most easily going to exist in the new earth frequency. When we all allow the energy of God, the energy of Creator, the energy of Source to flow through us, and to know we each have a unique expression that is important and valued, and no less than any other. but that in the highest truth we are one. We are not separate from our energy, from our soul, and in this, from each other. And if you are connected in a natural way to all that is, how does that feel in your body? Do you feel whole? Do you feel powerful? Do you feel complete? Do you feel supported? Do you feel loved? Not only are you loved, but you are the love. That you feel for any other, love that you feel for things that you like to do, the love you feel for those closest to you. It is you. You are that love. You are identifying by loving. You are identifying what you really are. You are recognizing the truth of you. In love, we express as the truest version of ourselves. And again, there is nothing to do to deserve that. Nothing to do to receive that. It just is. It is you. And the most important part of this equation of the creation of New Earth is you. This is not a place that you're going to. It is where you are. As you find the truth within yourself, which is you, which is your soul, as you find that, as you connect to that, as you live from that, as you know it to be you, as you feel it expressing through your body, that is most important. It all comes from you. There is nothing outside of you that is more important. You may have come here to journey through life, this beautiful, perfect life with others, and you know who they are. They may be your actual family, but they are certainly your soul family. You may have chosen to journey through with them, but their well-being and their way of being, their life, their existence is not more important than yours. They may be guiding you into the truest version of you, guiding you back to you. Most of our experiences are. So if you are concerned with anyone or anything outside of you, come back to you. Come home. Come into this truth. Come into this frequency where you're in now. And just be there. Know yourself as the most powerful being in this equation. In whatever circumstances or things you're going through with other people, remember to come home to you. You are your source, and they are theirs. Give them that. Give yourself that. This is the way. Enjoyed connecting with you in these energies, in this truth. In this love that we all share, that we all are. Thank you for being here. You are valuable. You are loved, guided, and supported. And so it is. because you are. You can open your eyes. Thank you guys. It's awesome. It's good to see you and amazing to hang out in higher vibrations. All
Thank
right.
you. Thank
Thanks.
you, Hadden.
I know. I have a feeling she'll be on one in the physical. All right. Appreciate you. And hopefully see you guys next time. We'll do them every 2 weeks.
Thank you.
And yeah, of course. Thanks for being here. And yeah, okay. See you next time.
See you soon.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.